Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year's. It is I, your boy, Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, here today. I want to start off the New Year's with a bang. I want to start it off with some positivity. So let's talk about why I love Zenos as a character, and why he's so freaking good in Endwalker. If you have seen my reaction to the ending of Endwalker, oh, you'll know. And if you couldn't tell, this is a spoiler-filled video. We're going all out, yeah? This is part 2 of my Endwalker review, because Zenos himself will require a video. He requires this video, so that we can pay respect to one of the best characters in Endwalker. Yeah? Let's get right into this. And if you want to see part 1 of my review, where I cover the rest of Ultima Thule and the ending outside of Zenos, link in the description down below, or pinned comment. So why I love Zenos. In a game where there are so many emotionally complex characters and antagonists, with deep and intricate backstories and reasoning, it's really freaking refreshing to have a character where you know and understand what he is and why he is doing something from the very beginning. From the moment you meet that character, you understand exactly who he is and what he is. There are plenty of both meta and non-meta story details that we can talk about with this character. But the beauty of Zenos' character is in his simplicity. You do not need to think twice about every word or every inflection that they utter. He tells you exactly, and I mean exactly, what he is thinking. When a story only has that type of character, it can be one-dimensional and derivative. But when that character, when Zenos lives in a world occupied by deep and complex characters, both good and bad, he can shine better and stand on his own. Look, not many times in this world will people say the following, but I truly believe that Rich Campbell said it best. Zenos is a character that makes other characters better, and I truly believe that is an important role to have in any story. Something, it could be a device, it could be a character, something that enhances the other characters around them. And you know, every time, that when Zenos is in a scene, he's never in the background. All eyes are on him, both the players and the characters in the story. All eyes are on Zenos, because he's that freaking cool. He is a character that thrives on being used sparingly. He's a hype character. He moves the plot along, and he puts everything else into perspective. He makes each scene seem more important than it had been without him. He's also the foil. He's the foil to the Warrior of Light. Both characters have extraordinary power and capabilities, and both use them for wildly different freaking reasons. The Warrior of Light is troubled, and questions and doubts himself at every turn throughout their journey. And if you're wondering where the hell that was in the story, and what am I talking about, go do the Dark Knight job quests. It's present in the MSQ, sparingly, but it's full front and center in the Dark Knight job quests. But the Warrior of Light uses their power for unselfish reasons, primarily, not all the time. And they use that power to save the ones that they find precious, that they want to save, or to fight a fight that they believe will better serve other people or save the world. The Warrior of Light has to overcome grief and doubt from the losses that they took, namely Haurchefant and Ysayle back in Heavensward. But it's not just them. All the others that we've lost, all the other characters that we've seen die, whether they be major characters or not, that's guilt on the Warrior of Light. and makes them question themselves throughout the journey. Again, go to the Dark Knight story. But they keep getting back up and continuing the fight because they know that is the right thing to do. You fight for not for those you have lost, but for those you can yet save. And they use that line repeatedly throughout the MSQ for good reason. Zenos, however, on the other side of the coin, is determined and knows exactly what he wants. He doesn't doubt himself. He doesn't question why. He wants a fight because it's all that's left in the world that can make him feel something. And after the Royal Menagerie fight with the Warrior of Light, his sole desire is to be able to relive that moment again. Because for once in his life, he finally felt something, and felt something that was real and palpable. He finally felt like he had a reason to live. And for Zenos, that was important. Because the entire world was a shade of gray. It was boring. It was mundane. But we added color to his life. And to him, that's important motivation. He is the opposite of the Warrior of Light. And what the Warrior of Light represents, and could have been, if we didn't have that support structure in the game, with the Scions and everyone else. Zenos as a character in Endwalker is not just a meta device to say that the player plays games for greater challenges. He does do that, mind you, but that isn't his sole role. And to reduce him as a character to just a fourth wall break is completely missing the point of that scene. People forget that the Warrior of Light themselves is a character. They largely serve the role of the silent, self-insert protagonist, but they aren't just that. They are a character living and breathing in this world. I absolutely love Alizé's speech to Zenos and how it affected him, because it did so in an interesting way. It didn't change his motivation. He still wanted a fight, but he realized there's an alternative way to get the fight he wants. He doesn't have to make the Warrior of Light despair and make the Warrior of Light suffer all these extraordinary losses to make the Warrior of Light fight him. He can do it in a different way, because the Warrior of Light is a character, as I just said. And to completely think that the Warrior of Light is a self-insert protagonist is missing the point of that character. Because they aren't. They largely serve that role, but they aren't. They have their own motivation, their own desire. He wants to save the world. Because he knows that's what he can do best. That's their role. Yes, it sucks, and yes, it hurts, and it can hurt, it's going to hurt. But it's what they do, and it's what they do best. And Zenos recognizes this. And from Alizé's speech, he realizes something. If I want the Warrior of Light to fight me, I have to give him a reason to. And it doesn't have to be just despair. He comes in and saves the Warrior of Light. And before anyone says anything, yes, he does save him. I've heard this weird freaking take that Zenos did not contribute to the ending, or that he was just there. The Endsinger would literally have destroyed the platform and killed us if he didn't arrive when he did. He helped us defeat the Endsinger, and then offers the fight, but he does so in a very particular way. He used to believe that he had to force us to fight him, but he gave us a choice, and to me that was important, because it represented palpable character development for Zenos. And also, I'm going to say this right now, the amount of weird freaking takes I have seen on this dialogue choice is immense. Why do people think a viable option was to just let Zenos live? Say no and walk away. I have seen people asking for that dialogue option since I started looking at spoilers, because I beat the MSQ. The dude literally just helped cause the final days. You have to think of it through the Warrior of Light's perspective. Zenos just helped cause the final days just so we can fight him. He took over our body and was going to go and kill all the Scions and everyone at Camp Broken Glass just so we would fight him and want to fight him. But you think Zenos, letting him just walk away, he would never do that again? Yeah, the argument could be, but he says he'll let us walk away. You actually believe him? Now, I do think Zenos would have let us walk away, but he was always going to come back for us if we said no. He is too dangerous not to deal with. He has caused too much. That scene was always going to end in the fight. And I felt the options given were sufficient for that. Besides, the correct answer is number 1 anyway, so let's be honest here. But you can't just let him walk away, because that's not what the Warrior of Light wanted. This is where we come back to the fact that the Warrior of Light themselves is a character. They want the fight. Whether your motivation for wanting that fight can change, but based on the player. It could be that you think that they are too dangerous to keep alive. Or you finally accept Zenos, and that there is some part of you deep down that wants greater struggles, like greater fights, greater walls and adversity to overcome. Or you just think he's too dangerous to let live, and you don't give him a definitive answer. Or you're like me, and you said you accepted Zenos back in Stormblood, and the jabroni just didn't believe you. But that scene always was going to end in a fight. I genuinely do not understand the take that that scene ruined the expansion somehow. In that, because we couldn't walk away and deny him the fight, that it somehow ruined the expansion. What the hell? No, it didn't. Like, in any capacity. Because that scene always had to end in the fight, for the reasons I've laid out for you. Because you also have to think, we've seen more aspects of Zenos than the Warrior of Light has in game. Remember that. We have seen scenes with Zenos outside of what the Warrior of Light knows. We have additional context that the character of the Warrior of Light don't have. That's important. Because people always think, when it comes to an RPG, that you are the character. No, you are a self-insert into that character, but they are still a character. Who have their own motivations and own desires and own ways of thinking. And that matters. Because to me, in my opinion, how they handled Zenos was perfect. I loved everything about it. Because they understood and stayed true to the character. And that type of character where he has a sole focus on his Moby Dick. He wants that fight, and he's going to do what he believes is best to get that fight. He doesn't want power for the sake of power. He wanted power in Endwalker and Shadowbringers because he recognized that he was behind us, and he wanted to catch up to us so that we could have that fight again. It was such an interesting twist on that stereotypical villain that just wants power for the sake of power. Because he wanted power for a very specific reason. Wasn't vague, wasn't hidden, it was never a mystery. And I loved that. Because as I said at the top of this video, in a world of emotionally and rich and complex characters, sometimes it is such a nice breath of fresh air to have the simple. And to have the characters where they tell you what they want and you can truly believe them. I love Zenos as a character, and I'm going to make another video in the next few days about where I think the character is going to go from here. Because, spoiler alert, I don't think he's dead. Not by a long shot. I feel like they kept it, let me just TLDR a little bit. I feel like they kept it vague enough where if they want to bring him back, they can. And I feel like they are going to in some capacity. Maybe like as a vision or something, but we'll talk about that when we get to that video. So, in conclusion, Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on the character of Zenos and how he was handled in Endwalker. I would love to read your thoughts, and I would love to hear them.